I've been a truck driver for almost 20 years, and I thought I'd seen it all. But that night, on an abandoned stretch of highway, I learned what it truly meant to feel hunted. It was just after midnight when I turned onto a road I rarely used. The silence was comforting at first, just the sound of my engine and the long strip of asphalt ahead. After half an hour, I noticed headlights in my rearview mirror. At first, I didn't think much of it. Roads like these are lonely, but once in a while, another driver passes through. Still, something about those lights unsettled me. They stayed at the same distance for miles, never getting closer, never falling behind. I slowed down, expecting the car to overtake me. Instead, its pace adjusted perfectly to mine. My chest tightened as realization sank in. This driver wasn't just sharing the road with me. They were following me. The longer it went on, the more suffocating the silence became. My radio was dead. My phone had no signal, and all I had was a steady hum of the truck mixed with the glow of those damn headlights. It was like being shadowed by a predator, waiting for me to make the wrong move. That was when I knew I wasn't alone out there, and whoever was behind me had no intention of letting me go. My palms were sweating as I tightened my grip on the steering wheel. I tried to tell myself it was a coincidence, maybe another trucker heading the same way. But every time I slowed, they slowed. Every time I sped up, they sped up. I flicked on my turn signal and pulled onto a service road. The headlights followed. My stomach dropped. This wasn't coincidence. This was deliberate. The road was rough, the trees leaning over as if closing in on me. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. I kept glancing at the mirror, watching the headlights mirror my every move. It was like they wanted me to know I was trapped. I thought about pulling over and confronting them, but something in my gut screamed not to. Whoever was in that car wasn't out here for small talk. They wanted to scare me, or worse. That was when fear turned into panic. I wasn't just driving anymore. I was running for my life. I spotted an old gas station up ahead, its lights long dead, pumps covered in rust. For a second, I thought about pulling in, maybe hiding behind a building, maybe waiting to see who got out of that car. But then I pictured being cornered in the dark, no one around to help. My chest tightened. I couldn't risk it. I stayed on the road, my headlights slicing through the fog as I pushed the truck harder. The following car never let up. Their lights kept burning in my mirrors, steady and unshaken, like they had endless patience. It was clear they weren't just passing through. I tried to call dispatch, but of course, no signal. The little bars on my phone stared back at me, empty, useless. That isolation dug deeper into my mind, making me realize how helpless I really was. Out here, no one would hear me scream. My throat was dry. I grabbed my water bottle, but my hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold it. The headlights behind me glared brighter, as if taunting me. Every second they stayed, my fear grew heavier. That was when I understood something chilling. They weren't trying to pass me because they didn't want the road. They wanted me. I made a snap decision and swerved onto a dirt road branching off the highway. The truck rattled violently, tires crunching over loose gravel. For a split second, I felt relief. Maybe I'd lost them. Maybe they'd give up. But then the headlights reappeared through the cloud of dust. Closer, much closer. I cursed out loud, slamming my fist against the wheel. Whoever this was, they weren't letting go. The road twisted through dense trees, branches scraping against my truck like claws. My breathing turned ragged. My pulse thundered in my ears. I didn't know how much longer I could keep control. Every instinct screamed that this was the end. My mind raced with possibilities. Hijackers? Thieves? Some sick psycho? None of it mattered. All I knew was that I was prey, and they were closing in. I pressed harder on the gas, praying that this dirt road would lead me anywhere. Anywhere but here. Just when I thought I couldn't take another minute, I saw something up ahead. Flashing lights, red and blue, faint through the trees. My heart leapt. A patrol car. I floored it, dust spraying behind me, the truck groaning as it surged forward. The headlights behind me slowed, then swerved violently. By the time I reached the highway again, they were gone, vanished into the darkness. I pulled over near the officers, my whole body trembling. I tried to explain, but the words came out broken, shaky. They searched, but the car was nowhere to be found. Whoever it was, they knew when to disappear. That night changed me. I still drive, but I never take back roads after dark anymore. Sometimes, late at night, when I catch headlights in my mirror, I feel the same fear rising up in my chest. Because once you've been hunted on an empty road, you never really forget. It was supposed to be a simple weekend trip. My girlfriend and I had left late, trying to make it to her parents' house before sunrise. Somewhere along the way, the GPS lost signal, and we ended up on a back road neither of us recognized. The farther we drove, the darker it became. The trees hung low, branches stretching over the road like skeletal arms. I tried to reassure her, saying it was just a shortcut. But deep down, I didn't believe my own words. There were no signs, no lights, no other cars, just silence. That's when we saw it, 2 dim headlights up ahead, a car parked sideways across both lanes. At first, I thought it was abandoned, but as we slowed, 2 men stepped out. My stomach dropped instantly. They waved us down, one of them signaling with his arms as if asking for help. My girlfriend whispered, "Don't stop." But something inside me hesitated. What if they really needed assistance? What if this was just bad luck? I slowed to a crawl, my hands tightening on the wheel. That hesitation would nearly cost us everything. One of the men walked closer, his face hidden in shadow. He gestured at the car, saying it had broken down. But there was something wrong with his tone. Too casual, too rehearsed. The other man lingered near their vehicle, glancing at us every few seconds. He wasn't looking at the engine, wasn't checking tires. He was watching us. My girlfriend gripped my arm, her voice trembling. Drive? Now! But I couldn't move. My foot hovered over the gas, torn between instinct and guilt. I wanted to believe it was real, that they were stranded travelers like us. Yet, every second I stared, the less human they felt, more like predators waiting for a signal. The man at my window leaned in slightly, smiling too wide. "You can give us a ride, right? Just a few miles." His hand brushed the door handle. That was it. The final crack in my doubt. Every part of me screamed that if I stopped, we wouldn't make it out alive. My girlfriend's voice broke through my paralysis. "Go!" I slammed my foot on the gas, the tires screeching. The man jumped back, cursing as we shot forward. But the nightmare wasn't over. As we swerved past their car, I realized it wasn't broken down at all. The engine was running, lights glowing, doors intact. It wasn't stranded, it was bait. My chest tightened as I gripped the wheel harder. We had almost fallen right into their trap. In the mirror, I saw them scramble into their car. Headlights flared to life. They were chasing us. My girlfriend's nails dug into my arm as she begged me not to slow down. My heart raced so hard I thought I'd pass out. The road twisted and turned, the trees blurring by. Every time I tried to push faster, the car behind closed in. Their headlights burned brighter, flashing aggressively. They wanted us to panic, to make a mistake. And panic was exactly what was taking over. The road felt endless. No signs, no intersections, just miles of darkness. I gritted my teeth, trying to stay steady. My girlfriend cried softly beside me, covering her mouth to muffle the sound. The car behind us kept pressing closer, sometimes swerving toward our bumper, as if trying to make a spin out. Each time, I swerved dangerously close to the ditch, my hand shaking. I'd never felt fear like that before, raw, suffocating fear. I prayed for a turn, an exit, anything to get us off that stretch. My eyes burned from staring too long at the road, but I couldn't blink, couldn't risk missing a second. Then, in the distance, I saw it. Faint lights. A main road. Safety. I pushed the car harder, the engine roaring. Behind us, they tried to keep up, but I wasn't holding back anymore. With one last desperate turn, we burst onto the main highway. Cars zipped by, headlights flooding the asphalt. Just like that, the pursuing vehicle vanished, swallowed back into the night. We pulled over at a gas station miles later, both of us trembling too much to stand straight. I tried to explain to the clerk what had happened, but the words wouldn't come out right. My voice cracked. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. We called the police. They listened, nodded, and finally told us something that froze my blood. We weren't the first. Similar reports had come from that same stretch of road. Drivers stopped by a fake breakdown, chased if they tried to escape. I don't know what would have happened if we'd stopped that night. I don't want to know, but I've never looked at a stranded car the same way again. Sometimes, when I'm driving late at night, I see shadows by the roadside and feel that same cold dread wash over me. Not every cry for help is real. Some are just waiting for you to fall into the trap. It was close to 2 a.m. when I spotted him. I was driving home from a late shift, exhausted, my eyes burning from the long hours on the road. That's when I saw a man standing on the shoulder, his arm raised like he was asking for a ride. At first, I felt sorry for him. He looked alone, vulnerable, and I'd been raised to help when I could. But there was something odd. He didn't wave, didn't move, just stood there with his thumb out, his body stiff like a statue. The road was empty, no other cars for miles. Against my better judgment, I slowed down. My gut told me not to, but pity clouded my thoughts. What if he really needed help? When I pulled over, he walked slowly to the passenger door. His movements were strange, deliberate. I hesitated before unlocking it. He opened the door and sat down without saying a word. That's when the fear crept in. He smelled faintly of sweat and gasoline, his clothes dirty and torn. He kept his head down at first, staring at his hands. The silence was unbearable. I tried to break it, asking where he was headed. "Just keep driving," he muttered. His voice was low, almost threatening. My grip tightened on the wheel. Minutes passed, and he still wouldn't give me a clear destination. Instead, he started asking me questions, personal questions. "You live alone? Anyone waiting for you at home?" Each one made my stomach churn. I lied, telling him I had family expecting me. He smirked, like he knew I wasn't being honest. The air inside the car grew heavier, suffocating. Every mile forward felt like I was sinking deeper into something I couldn't escape. I glanced at him briefly, and that was when I noticed it. His right hand resting inside his jacket pocket, gripping something. My blood ran cold. He hadn't shown it, but I was certain he had a weapon. He caught me looking and smiled, slow and unsettling. "Don't worry," he said softly. "Just focus on the road." My heart pounded so loud I thought he could hear it. I considered slamming the brakes, shoving him out, but the thought of what he might pull from that pocket stopped me cold. I kept driving, praying for a sign of life ahead. A gas station, a diner, anything. But the road stretched endlessly, the dark pressing in on both sides. The silence between us was no longer empty, it was dangerous. Desperation clawed at my chest. I forced myself to stay calm, to think. Then an idea came. I pretended to notice a problem with the car. I slowed, muttering about the engine overheating, tapping the dashboard as if something was wrong. He shifted uncomfortably, still keeping that hand in his pocket. "Don't stop," he said firmly. But I ignored him, easing the car onto the shoulder. "Won't take long," I said, forcing my voice to stay steady. My hands were trembling so badly I thought he'd see through me. I killed the engine and unbuckled my seatbelt slowly. My plan was simple: get out and run. Not smart, not safe, but it was all I had left. He leaned toward me, his eyes narrowing. "What do you think you're doing?" My pulse exploded. It was now or never. The second my feet hit the ground, I bolted. I didn't look back. My legs carried me faster than they ever had in my life, adrenaline burning through my body. The gravel tore at my shoes. My lungs screamed for air, but I kept running. Up ahead, like a miracle, I saw the faint glow of a building, a gas station. I pushed harder, my vision blurring, convinced every second he was right behind me. I burst through the door, startling the clerk inside. "Call the police." I shouted, barely able to breathe. When I finally looked back, the road was empty. The man was gone. The police came, searched the area, but found nothing. No footprints, no trace of him. It was like he had vanished back into the night. I've never stopped for anyone on the side of the road since. I tell myself I was lucky that night, that if I hadn't trusted my gut, I wouldn't be here to tell this story. And every time I drive late at night, I see that shadow in my memory, waiting silent, hand in his pocket,